And then do you want to go into presenter view? Just so you have the notes too, Will. Oh, are you using two screens or just one, Will?
Right now, just the one, unfortunately. Can you see the presenter view on top of it?
Yeah, you may just want to do slideshow then if you're comfortable with
Mhm.
that. Yep. As long as you're okay, Will, to know who's doing what slide.
Yep.
Cool. Jameli, anything else before we start?
No, all good to go. I'll be monitoring the chat.
Thank you. Thanks, Damien. Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all for being here. Welcome to Empowering Future Innovators, preparing middle and high school students for future-ready careers in AI, tech, and design.
As we give everybody a couple of minutes to join, we would love to know in the chat, what is one thing that you wish AI could do for you? How could it make your life easier?
We're going to dive into talking, do my laundry. I love that. Cook, grade, clean my house. Oh my goodness. I'm loving
Cooking
all
would
these
be such
responses.
a great AI. Grading, yes, it's almost there. I think I saw lose weight. If only that would be magical.
Welcome, everyone. For those who are just joining us, we are welcoming, greeting folks in the chat, and then we're answering our welcome question. What is one thing you wish AI could do for you? Ooh, John Gonzalez, differentiate. I love that.
I saw that as well in the Q&A. Some people had put that as had put their responses in there, differentiating, have small talk, right?
Mm.
Get that out of the way so that we can get to the deep talk. I love that. Oh, I saw a good one there, Sherry, helping communicate with people in other languages.
Amazing. Cultural
Taxes would be
responses.
so good.
Culturally responsive sustaining educational strategies. Welcome. In the last few seconds before we begin, just really want to appreciate everyone for being here, for taking the time to learn about Mouse and our approach to innovation in AI, tech, and design. We're going to get started in just a few seconds. And if you haven't done so already, answer our welcome question. What is one thing you wish AI could do for you?
And somebody actually put an answer to somebody else's thought in the Q&A. Something called talking points helps communicate in other languages to parents.
Hmm, wonderful. All righty. Good afternoon, everyone. We are going to go ahead and get started. I want to begin with an appreciation and welcome to our presentation. My name is Danny Shapiro. I'm the Chief Program Officer at Mouse. I'm joined by my colleague, Will Brown, who's the Director of Instructional Design, as well as our colleague, Jameli Briseño, who's a Program Manager and leads our Design Lead program here at Mouse. And Jameli will be helping out in the chat to answer any questions that you may have as they come up. We're going to be doing a presentation and we'll leave time at the end for questions. So really just want to dive right in, and we are excited for this time together. I'm going to begin with sort of who Mouse is. What do we believe? What is our vision and mission? Mouse is a nonprofit organization that disrupts inequities in the tech industry by increasing educational access for youth in underserved communities. How we do this is that we empower and we educate students and teachers from historically excluded communities to use STEM and design skills to solve real-world problems and make meaningful change in our world. A really simple way of saying this is that at Mouse, we really lead with our values and we lead with our belief that all students should have access to meaningful careers in tech. And we do this by disrupting the inequities through strong educator, professional development, and meaningful experiences for our students.
And we see that in our impact. In just the last 4 years, we've had 12,000 students complete our flagship program, Design League. And in this year alone, that number was 3,000 students. We've trained over 10,000 educators in how to teach technology in the classroom, whether that is computer science or the general education classroom. And the thing that I'm most proud of is that students who go through our programs are equipped with the skills they need to succeed in college, careers, and in life. And in this short 2-minute video, we're going to hear from a couple of Design League alums who have gone on to work within the tech field about how our program has impacted them.
Design League was the best place to learn how to make friends and to network. When you're young, you start thinking that networking is always business, but networking can also be chatting with a person who ends up being your lifelong friend and talking ideas and planning things together and working on projects together. And Design League is such a really creative space that you start realizing that you can network and you can befriend so many different kinds of people.
Design League is such an open and welcoming environment. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you come from. When I was a student of Design League, I was honestly very introverted. I had a hard time talking to people. I didn't feel like my voice mattered. Going through Design League, it showed me, even as a young person, I can make a difference. I didn't know how to code, I didn't know how to do many things, but Design League enabled me to learn and to innovate.
Being able to learn HTML and CSS when I was in Design League pretty early on was super pivotal. Because even though I wasn't very good at it, I really needed those fundamentals really, really badly.
I feel like everyone always talks about jobs that are set in stone, that someone's done before, and no one ever thinks about, but how could we grow and do something different that could be better and help more people? And I feel like Design League makes you think that way. Design League definitely inspires you to be like, think outside of the box. What's something that you could bring to the table no one's brought to the table yet?
So I love this video. I love what Caroline says there at the end, is we're always thinking about careers that people have done already, but the tech revolution is happening quicker and quicker, and the students who graduate this year are going to be stepping into jobs that have never been done before. And so it's critical that we equip them with those skills to really think outside the box and creatively design solutions to problems that we haven't faced yet. And these were just 3 alumni, but our alums have gone on to work within the tech industry, within New York City and beyond. It's amazing to see them come back and tell us where they're at now.
Thank you, Will. Keep the questions coming. I really appreciate this one question in the Q&A. Getting educators to support students for jobs that don't even exist. And that is really our core belief here at Mouse, is preparing our students for the jobs of tomorrow by giving them the skills and the tools through our suite of programs and products to be able to enter the workforce, communicate, collaborate, and innovate in ways that can work regardless of the jobs that may not even exist yet. So kind of building off of the success of our students that you just saw, I'm going to kind of introduce our next portion of the program, which is diving into the programs that Mouse offers. You heard a little bit about Design League. We're going to talk about Design League, AI League, and our CS integrations programs. Design League is Mouse's signature program. As Will had mentioned earlier, in the last 4 years, over 12,000 students have participated in Design League. We operate in New York City, and we are also moving beyond New York City, but we have been really dedicated and committed to transforming outcomes for New York City public school students with Design League. So what is Design League? Design League is a program and a course where students work in small teams to create an original tech solution that addresses a social need in their community using human-centered design skills, UX, UI skills, and now this year, AI skills. And we'll get into this next. It is and I just want to say, what you'll see on that last slide is an example of a solution that was created by one of our Design League project groups, Climate Connect. So they're using their human-centered design skills to identify problems in their community, learn the hard skills of technology, computer science, and AI in order to develop a prototype solution and then pitch and present it. So you're interweaving the social, emotional, and the tech career skills so that there is a direct connection between what they're doing in the classroom with their colleagues and what happens out in the world of tech and design. Alrighty. So I mentioned that Mouse Design League is a program and a course, but it is a multi-component program and experience. The foundation of Mouse Design League is the educator professional development. So we really pride ourselves at Mouse as being a strong, best-in-class professional development organization where we lead in order to support our teachers by setting them up for success. Not only do we train teachers, but we build a network of support so that teachers don't feel alone in the classroom, but they are connected to other Design League teachers across the city. We are also rooted in human-centered design, UX and UI, and app prototype solutions with AI underpinnings as well. We really want to make sure that students are using the skills that we know tech career employees are using every single day. And then how can you spiral it down so that a 6th grader is getting the appropriate experience, a 9th grader and a 12th grader, making those connections and planting the seeds between what they're doing in a Design League classroom and what happens in the careers of these fields. Third, we've added an AI or artificial intelligence fundamentals this year because we know that AI is front and center at the top of minds of every tech company, every company in the world, as well as every school in the world. Questions around AI are fundamental to helping ensure that students can connect what happens in the classroom to beyond. And we've built that into the program. Everything is hands-on with tech, design, software engineering tools. Students and teachers are actually using professional software that folks are using in the field, like Figma or Canva or Adobe or Google Suite, so that they're actually getting that practical application. In addition, we bring the tech community to our students so that there is actually feedback and conversation and mentorship that happens during the program. I'll get into more detail later, but at Mouse, we value the cultivation of not only a teacher community, not only the student community, but also the educator community. And I'm just noticing the questions, which are wonderful. Keep them coming in the chat. We believe that Design League is for all teachers in all subject areas. Design League can be incorporated into a CS classroom, into a non-CS classroom, or STEM or non-STEM. So in an ELA teacher or a graphic designer or an art teacher can use Design League in their classroom. So after the sort of community feedback from our mentor community, when we facilitate those connections and conversations, students are then prepared to leverage their social emotional and their communication and collaboration skills to pitch and present. And they're public speaking. They are presenting their projects, not only within their school, but across the district as well. So really giving them opportunities to lead through presentation. And then at the top, it's really finding ways to showcase this across New York City and celebrate student achievement in ways that are special and make them feel like their work is really best in class. And I'll show you exactly how we do that a little bit later on through our end of year celebration called Emoticon. So you can see here a lot of components, and at Mouse, we really support your partnership and implementation of Design League each step of the way. Thanks, Will. Design League gives educators the opportunity to choose a specific pathway that best meets the needs of your student. This can be done during the school day as a core class, an elective class, or an after-school opportunity. We believe in differentiation, that all students, including students who are multilingual learners or students with special needs, can access and have success in this program. We've experienced D75 schools, students with different language abilities, and teachers really diving into this as an opportunity for access and equitable ways to learn. Using human-centered design, using UX, UI, using those research and analytical skills, collaborating, using empathy, getting the hands on those professional tools, and communicating so that their ideas are validated and presented in a real-world context. I mentioned Emoticon, which is our end-of-year celebration. The underpinning value that we believe is the successful recipe in Design League is bringing tech career mentors in front of students, getting them to share their ideas, get feedback, and iterate either virtually or in person. You can see we've sort of modeled this in different ways, but providing those at-bat opportunities for students to talk to professionals, to understand that they belong. Students in New York City Public Schools belong in tech communities in New York and beyond. And we create that sense of belonging by having them interact with, validate their ideas, and iterate on their ideas so that projects can become more meaningful and relevant within a tech community. And now I'll pass it to Will to sort of dive a bit more into the content of Design League for our 3 learning pathways.
Thanks, Danny. So you heard about the general program from Danny. One thing that he mentioned is the flexibility of our program. We know that every teacher is in a different situation, and we want to meet you where you are at. And the first step in doing that was by dividing our curricula up into these 3 learning pathways. The first pathway that we have is design thinking. The second pathway is focused on the user experience and user interface skills that tech professionals use. And the third one is creating an app. So students develop their own prototype in that third pathway. Within the design thinking pathway, the emphasis is really on those underlying skills that everybody needs to solve real-world problems. So there is a huge social emotional foundation where students are empathizing with others' needs within their community and really working to generate innovative designs that address those needs. So not looking at what already exists and how can we make our own version of it, but dreaming up what doesn't exist that we could possibly create, and really setting them free with no guardrails, no restrictions, letting them dream as big as possible for what would the ideal solution be. And students showcase their learning and they demonstrate their proficiency by creating a digital zine that explains their solution to the real world problem that they've identified. And so on this slide, we see 2 different examples of digital zines. On the left side, a group of students from Bedford Academy High School created a digital zine about colorism, which is a really important topic to those students. They selected that. And the tool that they used to create this was Google Slides. On the right-hand side, we have some other students from the same school that created a digital zine about addictions. Again, this was their topic. They chose what they wanted to focus on as a problem. They researched solutions. They looked at what was out there and they dreamed about what is not out there yet. And they created a digital zine in Canva. One thing that I cannot stress enough in regards to the flexibility of our program is that we remain as tool agnostic as possible. Every school has their preferred tools for teaching, and we don't want to get in the way of that. We want our lessons and our curricula to meet you where you are at.
Thanks,
The
Bill.
second,
Oh, sorry. I'll take this next one. Our second pathway is UX UI. The value that we lead in with this pathway for teachers and students is inclusive accessibility. So we all know that so many websites, apps, technology tools need to be accessible for all students. So it's connected to our sort of empathizing with our users to make sure that a solution that students are designing is accessible. So through this pathway, students are translating the user needs into practical solutions, and they're building a detailed user interface in order to meet those needs. And the way that we really emphasize it in this pathway is by building a style guide. And you can see an example of a style guide here on this next slide that shows what are the ways in which digital solutions, whether it's an app or a website or a tool, can be inclusive through specific choices around color, text, imagery, physical placement and location of solutions so that it can be as inclusive. So really building off of the design thinking pathway to include this accessibility lens.
and our third pathway is all about creating an app. In this pathway, students use those human-centered design skills to apply them to create a real-world solution. So now they are taking their dreams and turning them into reality. It can incorporate the lessons that students have learned if they've gone through the design thinking and the UX UI pathway, but it can also be run completely independently of those. And the end goal of this pathway, is a professional app prototype. And so we do provide guidance on using tech professional tools like Figma, but it can also be done using Adobe or Google Slides or Canva to have students turn their ideas into a professional design. On the left-hand side, we see this image that we saw before of the Climate Connect app that was created in Figma. On the right-hand side, we have a school-based app that was designed using Google Slides. And so students build these prototypes. They can add in the functionality of how they want them to work without being held back by not having access to any coding lessons yet.
One thing I want to add, I noticed one of the comments in the chat, a lot of our teachers integrate the Design League course into their core content. So it does not need to replace, for example, an HMH unit, but it can complement, it can extend, and it can be an additional unit within core content. Flexibility is really how we've seen teachers achieve success within a core class or as an elective or as an after school. And we've built a scope and sequence that allows for that flexibility with all teachers. I love the question in the Q&A about blocked sites and AI tools, which I'm going to dive into next, and I'm super excited to do that. I'm going to pivot now from our Design League program and course, and please keep the questions coming as you see them, as they arise, and go into our next product, which is AI League. Mouse's AI League is a brand new product that is sort of an extension or a part 2 of our Design League program. Mouse AI League takes the fundamentals of artificial intelligence and incorporates it with teaching students the fundamentals of design thinking, app prototype, but extending their learning to include the latest thinking and understanding of AI. What does that all look like?
One thing I want to add there, Danny, is that our AI League materials are extremely human-centered. We always want to keep students at the center of our work.
Thank you, Will. Totally agree. And the way that we've done this is Mouse has partnered with Carnegie Mellon University in order to create this sort of foundational framework of learning for AI. And we do this in 4 parts plus a capstone. So if you imagine students go through the design thinking product that we just talked about, where they're ending up with an app prototype, the vision for AI League is that they are then taking new thinking about how AI works. What is it? What is AI and machine learning? How do humans get machines to learn and train in data? What is text generation with AI? We see it on our phones every day, but how does AI actually generate text? And we also see with Instagram and other apps where they're creating these images with AI, how does AI sort, organize, and generate new images? So we are leading with an inquiry mindset to answer these essential questions. And the other value that we approach, and this kind of answers that accessibility question, is our activities are all unplugged and framed in a sort of reducing the fear and the unknown about AI so that every student and every teacher, more importantly, can access this content and bring it into your classrooms in a really thoughtful way. And sorry, one last thing that I want to mention on this slide. In order for the way that we've seen the AI League be successful is that at the end of the program is a capstone, which allows students to apply higher level thinking using their knowledge of AI in order to transform their solution. In other words, I've designed an app. How could AI enhance it or even more greatly solve the problem that I've identified in my community? So whether it's through these unplugged activities, accessing AI software that helps them apply their thinking, and then even to a higher extent or higher level thinking, enhancing their learning products to utilize AI, it's really more connecting them to being innovators in tech design and AI careers.
So as we see on this slide, this program currently has 4 lessons within it. The first lesson is what is artificial intelligence? In this activity, students really focus on learning what makes something intelligent by thinking about the inputs and outputs of different tools. For instance, we see here Apple Watch fall detection calculator, auto flush toilet, Google Maps, and car assembly robot. We ask them to think about what is the information that each of these 5 things is taking in, and what is the output? What does it do with that information in order to rank them from less intelligent through more intelligent? And this is a wonderful activity that really sparks a lot of discussion among teachers and among students and even teachers when we've shown it to them in professional development. They really engage with this and try to think through each of those different innovations and where is that data coming from.
And just to add on to that, I noticed there was a question in the chat. This AI League is a student experience. We've also found that schools and teachers are very interested in delivering this as a teacher PD opportunity. So if this is something that can help transform your staff's thinking in AI in general, leading a PD with your team about AI fundamentals, accessing and doing these unplugged activities in a safe, constrained environment, that's also what the AI League product could be for your school. So I want to name the student experience as well as the teacher PD. You can see Will leading the PD with our New York City educators here for AI. The light bulbs that went off in the room were incredibly powerful. The most important line that I remember, one teacher saying, "I'm no longer afraid of AI because I was able to do this PD today."
Yeah, that to me was one of the highlights of the year, was hearing that somebody was no longer afraid of the capabilities of AI. So once students have that understanding of what AI is, and what does it mean to be intelligent, we actually take them through the process of training an AI using quality and unbiased data. So we name for them that these 4 characteristics are important in building a well-designed artificial intelligence. And once they've got that understanding, they actually train a machine through a program called Teachable Machine by Google to identify the difference between 2 different items. And I've done this a couple of times with things like stuffed animals. I've tried it with wearing a different color shirt. And I've also tried it with some things that were a little bit more difficult, like what is the difference between a smile and a frown? And it really helps illustrate what it means to be good training data. And this leads into an extremely crucial conversation around biases in data sets and biases and impact that come out of it. The teachable machine program that we see here with a screenshot of Danny was used to test to see if it could detect the difference between a smile and a frown. As I mentioned before, students would use this program and take dozens of pictures, maybe even hundreds of pictures. They would click this button, train the model, that then does a whole lot of something in the background. We haven't dove into that yet for students. But it then allows them to see how well their model was trained by testing it out and giving the camera a smile or a frown to see what it read that image as. And no matter what two objects you choose for this activity, students really, really engage with it because it is making something mysterious easier to understand.
And one quick thing I'll add, that just to underscore that ethics and bias conversations in AI is extremely important. We do this again safely with educators so that they feel comfortable utilizing and leveraging the trust with their students in order to do this. So again, just want to name, like, using tools like this, we make sure that we are protecting student privacy. Teachable Machine is a great way to do that and help them understand this idea of training AI data. Thanks, Will.
And thank you, Jameli, for answering the question in the chat. Does the image data get collected? No, it is completely private. It is used only within your browser. It is not shared with anybody else. Our third activity takes students from understanding how AI is trained into how AI can be used. And this is an unplugged activity where students learn how generative AI, like ChatGPT, use probability to predict the next word in a phrase. So we actually use the book Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss. It was purposefully selected because it has only 50 different words in it. So it's a very, very small sample size that students can get a lot of good data from. They look at what word follows each keyword that they have, and then we go through and we play basically autocomplete with them. We start with a word from the book, and then we see what is the next word that shows up most often. So in the example here, we see after the word them, the most likely thing to follow it is the word in. And this is a wonderful activity, not only for explaining how those tools that they use regularly work, but also really showing them that this process can be tedious for a human, but it is perfect for a machine. This is the kind of thing that we should be automating.
And teachers have even used their innovation to take songs or other poetry to apply this same activity for different texts, so that students are learning the concept and the understanding behind predictive text and doing it in a fun way, whether it's Dr. Seuss or a Taylor Swift song or anything in between, to get their engagement going in doing an activity like this.
And our fourth module, I know this one's Danny's favorite, is around generative AI and images. So we help students understand how tools like Canva and DALL-E can create images from input data and prompts that people write. And so in this activity, we actually have students create a bunch of images, and then they lay them out on a coordinate plane based on some categories that they decide, which is very similar to how a machine does this. They don't actually have a preset plan. They just move them around by things that look similar, and then eventually it creates a sort of XY graph.
If you go to the next slide, I can kind of demonstrate. This was at a computer science fair in New York City a couple of months ago, where we demonstrated this with high school students. We had such high engagement. As you can see here, students love to draw and make meaning of information using tactile paper, pencil in a simple way. So what the students are doing here is they're organizing their alien drawings, so they had a lot of fun drawing them, on these coordinate planes, whether it was round or angular, lots of arms, no arms, and they're, again, replicating what AI does in a safe, unplugged way in order to make meaning of very complex ideas about how AI takes input of data and gives output of new data, in this case, images. You can see students loved talking about AI in a different way that they had never had done before. And by the end of the day, we had our whole board was filled up with drawings of aliens. And we had such interesting conversations with the students, and they wanted to learn more. So it was a really great example of how an activity like this, each of these 4 activities, which is sort of a subcomponent of our lessons, can really make a difference in the classroom, starting with a strong educator PD and then moving into that student experience.
And
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. Our third product that we're going to touch on briefly here before we finish up today, again, appreciate everyone's time, is our CS integrations and leaning back into the New York State Computer Science and Digital Fluency Standards.
And so this one is an extremely urgent call to action. The state has set a deadline of September 2024 for all K through 12 schools to implement the computer science and digital fluency standards. This is something that Mouse answered the call for many, many years ago through the New York State Smart Start grants. We have developed a first-class PD program that trains educators in grades K through 8 on integrating the new computer science and digital fluency standards into their existing lesson plans. This is crucial for people at the elementary level where they may be the only teacher teaching their students. So they need to find a way to teach it when they may not have the time to teach it directly. So we look at what you are already doing and we help you figure out where it can fit in. And this program starts at 2 days, but can be expanded with additional support. We work with your educators to identify and enhance lessons that they are already teaching with the computer science and digital fluency standards. This is a really collaborative program because we do not view ourselves as the be-all, end-all source of all knowledge. We really value the expertise and the experience that every classroom educator brings, and we want to provide them with the support that we have within computer science. And we emphasize 3 specific sections of the standards that many educators report apprehension around: computational thinking, cybersecurity, and networks and systems design. And we do this in a way that addresses teachers in grade band cohorts that are teaching the same standards. So we see there, we have trainings for K through 1, 2 through 3, 4 through 6, and 7 through 8. But we can also adapt it to be more general for all grades in the school. And within this 2-day workshop, educators will walk away with a deeper understanding of the computer science and digital fluency standards, of these 5 topic areas that we see here, and all of the 34 different standards that are included within there. We also provide some example CS integrated lesson plans as a starting point so that you can see what it looks like for computer science to be integrated into a social studies class or an ELA class, even a physical education class. But that's not where it ends. We don't want to just give you a resource. We want to teach you how to create your own resources. And so you will also be leaving with the ability to identify and integrate computer science into the lessons within your own curricula. And when we expand this workshop and we provide additional supports, we can take a look at building out a years-long curricula to ensure that all students see every standard by the end of that grade band. And we can also work with a district team to ensure that there is vertical alignment from grades K through 12, because we know that it's important that that you receive students who have already learned the skills for the previous grades. And we want to make sure that there is that synergy from kindergarten all the way through the time that students graduate from high school.
Thanks, Will. So in order just to wrap up in the next couple of minutes, I want to end how we began with appreciation for your time today. During our conversation today, we went through 3 Mouse signature programs, our Design League course, which is rooted in design thinking, leading to app creation and tech mentorship. Our AI League, which expands on the AI fundamentals in order to empower students with higher level thinking to apply to their app and digital solutions. And the CS integrations, which really meets the call to action for all schools to be implementing and integrating computer science and digital fluency standards. For each of these programs, again, Mouse provides professional development and program support, as well as the curriculum in order to ensure that you have everything you need. And then in particular for Design League and AI League, we facilitate those tech community mentorships in order to provide those opportunities. We're going to drop the interest form link in the chat, just so you can make sure that you are able to share your information. And I want to end with the powerful event that we hosted last week at New York City, where we had over 150 students meet with 100 tech mentors from Amazon, from Google, from Microsoft, from Adobe, from many tech companies in the community. And you can see here Design League students, middle school students and high school students pitching their Design League products. It was a very professional event. We had a keynote speaker. So really empowering students to pitch their ideas in maybe their first time ever in a tech office. So the smiles, the nerves, the success that they could feel all in that event. And then on the next slide, you'll see the power of mentor connections. So we had a keynote address from a former New York City Public Schools student, Will Velez, who's now an Amazon tech worker. We had tech community folks from all over the city come. And you can see here that really sitting across the table between students and mentors is powerful. And the students left the day feeling like they had learned, they had grown, and they had gained the confidence and a sense of belonging that, hey, I could work here one day, and here's my path to get there. We really allowed the space for those conversations to flourish, both about their projects and about careers in general.
And I just wanted to end by saying, when you go through Mouse programs, when you bring us into your school community, you are not just attending a training, you are not just receiving a curriculum. We welcome you into our community. We really love supporting educators to ensure that students have access to the opportunities of the future. We do not leave you once you've received training. We are there for you every step of the way, and we are always willing to step in and help you come up with solutions for any unique situations you experience within your school.
Thanks, Will. And just to underscore that, we are a team of educators and we are student focused and really hold students at the center of all of our solutions that we design. I love this picture. Wonderful PD day. Okay, and just to end and recap, Design League, AI League for both teachers and students, PD experience, and student program, and then the CS integrations. Feel free to grab the interest form with this QR code. We'll drop it in the chat once more. If you have additional questions, feel free to enter it into the Q&A. We will also be following up with folks who've attended today to make sure that you can connect with us, learn about bringing Design League, AI League, or CS integrations to your school. And yeah, I just want to underscore the flexibility and the success that we've had with integrating all 3 of these products into both CS and non-CS or non-STEM courses. So appreciate everyone's time today. And we will hang around here for additional questions if needed. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Jameli. And thank you, Beyond Access.
I'm seeing a question in the chat. Can this work for students who are studying fashion design? We actually have done our own programs in the past around wearable technology and the intersection of fashion and computer science. So I can say with 100% certainty that it can work for students learning fashion design.
Amazing. We've seen our Design League projects range in solutions for mental wellness, community safety, women's health, all of these things that students are seeing and being excited about. beauty industry, makeup, recycling, environmental issues. Yes, we work with teachers to provide accessibility for multilingual learners or non-English speaking students. And we've built out supports for that, Renee. So we're happy to continue that conversation as well.
And I see a few people, telling us to reach out to their principal. Please do that through the Google form because we will lose access to this chat once the call is over. But thank you all for being here and thank you for your interest and your excitement about bringing these opportunities to your students.
Great. Thank you, Damien.
Thank you all. Take care.
Alrighty.